Hi, everyone. I'm Krista with KristaDoesNumbers from IQ Podcast with Attorney King Studios. And today I have my guest, Ricardo Villa with Simpletime. Hi, Ricardo.
Hello. How are you doing?
Good. Thanks so much for being here today. So, Ricardo, let's just, tell me a little bit about yourself, a little background about who Ricardo is.
Ricardo has quite a couple of years on him, and that's a good thing. A lot of operational knowledge. A while back, I worked for the city for my dad, moved onto working into hospitality, got to travel the world, Spain, Mexico, and a little bit to Europe. And actually, my fun job was what you would call the fix-it guy, come in and work on an underperforming in some category in a hotel or hospitality and correct it and put it on its right course within 90 days.
Oh, okay. Well, that's awesome. So doing all of that, like what got you into your business, which is payroll?
Payroll was, I was assigned one hotel, and the owners, investors, wanted to start up a PEO company and merge the two worlds. And it wasn't a really easy thing to do, and nobody was figuring out the costs as it related to create a PEO within a hotel that they owned. And so I was working with the owners and literally, okay, let's make it work. And I understood it logically, helped them create it, grew that part of the business, and then was asked to join. I did, and I stood with them for quite some years. And I ended up actually, from that, the relationship changed. It was 4 investors, ended up being, I wanted to move on. My partner did as well. And we said, you know what, we can make this better. So we kind of pulled up our pants and actually dug in and, okay, we can get this done.
All right. And there you have it.
It
All right,
seems
well,
really.
thanks everyone for listening. No, I'm just kidding.
It sounds really, really simple, and I'll make the joke when everybody says, "Why Simpletime?" We want to make payroll so simple, and make it not so complex, so the owners can focus on the key things that they do best, which is run their business and get new clients and do sales, whatever their particular talent is.
Now, do you have like a specific type of, like a amount of employees for the businesses that you generally have, that you work with, your clients, I guess is what I'm trying to say?
I would actually say we have a passion or a love for those that are starting out between 1 and 3. And the reason why is they don't have HR, they don't have, some of the components, and they're kind of reaching out there, and they heard from somebody and actually Googled it or did something in that nature, and they're kind of, need a little bit of guidance. And so that is where our passion is to get them from this first stage into one where they can actually grow. And with that requires connections with other individuals, but that assistance is what drives us. We do have larger businesses in all industries. We're quite a little bit spread out, everything from San Diego, LA, Palm Springs, and way jump to Rochester, New York. So
yeah, that is a big jump.
My partner's family is from Rochester, New York.
Well, now you at least say from the East Coast to the West Coast, we got you covered, right?
We got you covered. Going back to the previous company, we literally moved from San Diego, Texas, Utah, Georgia, Miami, and all the way to Rochester. And so we're actually, in the past 5 years, we're heading in the right direction. We know we're doing well. We know how to make it be effective and cost efficient.
Right. All right. Nice. That's awesome. Okay. Good to know. Good to know. So, with all of this COVID stuff going on, actually, you know what? Before we get into that, what I really actually wouldn't mind talking about is AB5. Okay. Since you're a payroll person, you're actually the first payroll person I've talked to since that AB5 got implemented January 1st. I mean, it seems so far, it seems years ago that January 1st happened, but it really truly was only 5 months ago. But yeah, so AB5 happened in the state of California. And I mean, obviously it changed a lot. And one of the really interesting things that I heard was there is literally the possibility of getting a 1099 for IRS and a W-2 for the state of California. Now, I'm curious. I haven't heard much just because this whole COVID thing happened. So it's kind of like pretty much all everybody's listening, hearing about. But what I'm actually curious to know is that something that can be implemented fairly easily, like cost effectively? Because I'll be honest, like it really helps out the quote unquote independent contractor slash employee because just because of the especially with the new tax laws for the federal side of it. So I'm just curious your thoughts, opinions, whatever on that little aspect.
It's going to be more on the, if you're having two separate ways of reporting it, is probably not going to be, if it's the same individual. And I think that
Yeah.
the most important part to think about it is a red flag is going to go up if you, in one period of the year, shall we say, you have an employee be a W-2, and somewhere in the same year you have them be a 1099. It's going to create a flag, and it's going to be like, okay, how did you have this and that? It's not going to currently work well. It's going to
I'm
have
actually
more.
well, I was actually thinking no, in you get I think the way it was explained was like you get a 1099 for IRS, and so you have, but it's only given to the IRS as a 1099, and then the state of California, so it's like both the earnings are going on two separate forms. I don't know if I'm explaining
I
myself properly.
I
That
understand
makes
I
okay.
understand the concept.
Yeah.
It's not at present with the structure that there is. It's not going to work, or is it going
Okay.
to actually? There has, because when you process the payroll, you're actually going to be doing the whole part, which is going to be paying the federal and the state taxes. To
Yeah.
not pay the state, not pay the federal taxes, is going to create another issue on the same side as the state. The state's going to want to make sure that you're in compliance with them and with the federal government.
Um,
So
I was just
the
curious. It was a thought that I thought, well, that'd be kind of interesting, but I wouldn't know how the payroll companies would do it. So I was kind of interested. But anyway, but let's talk a little bit about that. Like, so as far as like the ABC test, like with in the state of California, like how that works.
it really has to do, the ABC is really simplistic in nature, and it used to exist a long time ago, but people have kind of forgotten. If you in one shape or another control the daily duties or assignments or materials of an individual, they are your employees and you have to cover them.
Right.
The concept of somebody being a 1099 or a contracted person was that they were basically a business entity in themselves. The problem that most don't like to discuss about is going to be somebody's got to pay the workers' comp and somebody's got to pay the taxes.
Right.
The issue is that we've gotten into 1099 everybody and nobody pays the workers' comp or the taxes. So what has come in to happen is an individual's gotten hurt and the client is saying, not my problem. And the person now goes into another process of helping this person recover, and it becomes more complex. So the state is actually paying for benefits and recovery when nobody paid taxes, and
Right.
recovering that to make sure somebody's got to pay it. And then we have people that just are not recording anything, which is again taxes and workers' comp and coverage and all of the above. That's what it's
Yeah, I totally
about.
get the concept of it. I mean, I know why it happened. I mean, I was honestly surprised it didn't happen sooner. But yeah.
The rules were kind of relaxed some time ago. I remember quite some time ago that, when we actually say if you're going to be a 1099, I need to have your documents. You have to fill it out. If you're going to go onto my job site as a contractor or a subcontractor, I need your insurance.
Right.
I need to see it before I let you in my premise. And that became, so nobody's looking at this, so I don't need it. So I'll just pay you a check. And now eventually workers' comp started getting hit, and they wanted, okay, I'm going to cover them under you. I want your payroll history, and I want your checkbook to see who you're actually putting into the location that's your business, where you're physically working out of. And
Yeah.
so more revenue, but more taxes, coverage as well. So
Okay. Well, thank you for that information, that knowledge. All right. So let's go into the whole COVID thing, right? So we got this whole stay-at-home order. We're all having fun at home. Um, how has that affected your business? I mean, what have you done to overcome some of this? I mean, I'm sure obviously your clients are affected by this. You may even have clients that are just like had to shut their doors. So what solutions have you found? work through to help your clients and also to help your business?
The one component that we have, in addition to payroll, we have time and attendance, and we have HR support.
Mhm.
And so we do some independent consulting as well. With that has come, obviously, payrolls have gone down significantly. Some have actually just disappeared.
Yeah.
That is not so much of an issue. Our time and attendance has actually grown. And you would say that doesn't make any sense. It does. Some of our clients who have sent their employees home, they're actually saying, can I have them, can I track them? Of course you can. Some of our clients that, or some new clients that I've gotten have been about, I have my team in the field. I don't want them coming into the office. How am I going to get the hours? And so that is a revenue stream, not a large as payroll, but it is a revenue stream. But at the same time, it's a cost efficient. It can become an analytical data and accountability side for the business. So they're not losing as much. A new study just came out, and I can share with you later on where it came out, where CFOs are starting to think about having their employees work from home because they're now being more productive. I remember a while back, they used to say, no, we're not sending people home because they're goofing off.
Well, just not to interrupt you, but I'm going to interrupt you. So like, I worked for, a company, and we were allowed to work from home. We were doing part-time, allowed to work from home. We actually came back and were working full-time. We have to be in the office. Well, the first day I'm in the office, I probably spent 2 hours talking to people. How productive was that? Not very productive.
Not very
when
productive.
I'm at home, I'm not talking to people. I'm doing my work. I'm a little frustrated, but that's okay. Okay, so anyways, all right. So go ahead.
No.
I just had to interrupt you.
No. It's quite all right. This CFOs are starting to realize that it's going to be more cost and time efficient for them to keep their team at home. Let's just say in a beautiful world, everybody can go roam around, etc. It's going to give that flexibility. It's going to be the person can work at whatever hours. The productivity now, as compared to, let's just say 20 years ago plus, when they had the first concept of working from home, productivity has totally changed. People are so much happier that their family is home, that they can just find a quiet spot, but they're actually getting their work done, and more so. And they have that flexibility to say, you know what, I'm gonna take a pause here. I'm gonna go have lunch. I'm gonna actually go take a nap. Whatever it may be, the productivity has more than increased. So now they say, if I reduce my space square footage of where my physical office is and let people work for them, I pay them a little bit here. My bottom line is going to get so much better. And I think they're seeing that this is the large size companies, not the small ones. They're seeing the value of this. They're going to say, you know what? I'm going to keep my people happier. I'm going to make more money. I can reduce my costs. I'm not being as competitive. I just need, maybe a one-room spot where people can come in and talk to somebody. The virtual world is really going to make a large change to business, how it's run. And that is the one thing that really needs to be faced, is we really need to be prepared for changing the way we do business.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this whole thing, I think, is definitely going to bring weird. People are like, I just want to go back to normal. I don't know what is going to be after this. I mean, it's just going to be different, is all I can say. But I definitely think we're just going to see a lot more telecommuting. It's people who maybe were thinking about it or not thinking about it, but that's just my personal opinion. Anyways. So, how long have you been in business again?
In this particular company, 5 years. Before that, it was 5 years as well.
Okay.
It must have been my lucky number. I'm going strong.
All right. So over the 5 years, I'm sure there was some sort of growing pains that you incurred, as far as like business wise. And so, what is one of the things? There might be multiple, but we'll stick with one for now. That you wish you'd known when you started, that you would like to then, a little golden nugget you'd like to pass on to the listeners.
The power of social media.
Okay.
I would go out and I would network, and that social side was something that I could not figure out how to take advantage. I thought if I'd walk in the room and I would talk to people or make a post every now and then that would automatically, or pay for an ad that would automatically generate me referrals. And that was kind of like I kept, well, why am I not seeing the benefits of all of this? I've invested time. I go in after work and do different, you know, chambers, organizations, et cetera, and just was not doing anything. And what I ended up figuring out, I started educating myself about how is the best way to do it. And every, you know, you reading more and reading more. And I finally found out just a couple key things is start not talking about yourself and start talking about other people. And I changed my language, and I would just started promoting individuals similar like what you're doing now. And it ended up, I figured out a good rule that I figured out is the person who writes or talks about somebody gets the most recognition because of the curiosity of the human individual. If I were to write something positive about you, people are going to look, they're going to research, they're going to Google you, and eventually, just because of human nature, they're going to say, well, who's this person that wrote the first nice words and maybe
Right.
wrote very well? So I'm going to follow that nugget and find out what they do, why they're doing that. Because maybe I want them to talk about me, or maybe they have something that nobody else has, and they'll go right back to where I would like them to go, is come talk to me. Now, the
Right.
person that I wrote about is going to be very, very grateful. It says, hey, this person helped me out. It didn't cost me. They guided me in the right direction. I owe them one is probably the nicest way to say it, but I'm going to keep them fresh in mind.
Right.
And that positive, or that act of kindness or act of positiveness, is beneficial. It does. And I always thought, I got to do mines, I got to do mines, I got to go get mines. And when I turned that around, it's where I started seeing, wow, hey, I was thinking about you and I heard somebody and they really need to talk to you. Here's this number, here's this so forth, and he's going to call you. And all of a sudden, a light bulb went on, and I said, I wish I had known this some time ago. I spent a lot of time doing a lot of networking to try to go, you know, capture these things that were not capturable.
Right.
So that would be my
Well, that's
golden nugget.
perfect. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate it. So Ricardo, if someone would like to get a hold of you, they need some payroll or what was that
I'm in attendance.
time and attendance, questions answered, whatever it may be, related HR stuff. Where can they find you, Ricardo?
My cell number 619-880-4950. And I know my email is very long. It's Ricardo.Villa, Villa, at Simpletime.biz. And I want to kind of, before biz.biz.
.biz. Just want to stress that. Okay.
And the business
That's
side
not
of
that long.
you can add an info in there if you want instead of my name. If you, I'll still get the email. The
Okay.
one thing that I wanted to do is explain just really quickly. Payroll models have existed for the same way for quite some time. They are like what I call an ABC model, and which means is the provider actually charges at the beginning part of the week, and you get paid the employees towards Friday. And so money comes to the provider, and you eventually get a check that's cashable at the end of the week. So you're paying in advance before payroll. Our payroll is an AV1 model, which means we process payroll for you. We become your clerical staff, and nothing gets deducted until Thursday or Friday. So when it comes to a cash flow, the client gets to keep his money in his account until the last day, and it comes out of their account. Other companies, what they'll do is they'll write you a check in their account to guarantee it. We don't do it. We do it in your account.
Okay.
So you're guaranteeing it, and the monies will come out, or the checks will come out literally, and you'll be able to see it. So it's a better, from an accounting point of view, they can actually see the transaction individually processed through their bank.
Oh, okay. Nice. Yeah, that's nice because, yeah, sometimes I don't like how they come and take the money for a few extra days and they earn interest on it and do all the, yeah. That always kind of annoyed me a little bit.
That's why we call it simple time.
There you go. Perfect. I know. I like it. right. Well, Ricardo, I just want to honor you for being here, taking the time to talk with me and educate my listeners about payroll and your company, Simpletime. Thank you so much. Again, I'm Krista. Krista Does Numbers, IQ Podcast, Attorney King Studios. And just keep in mind, though I'm a CPA certified in the state of California, I'm not your CPA. So always, as always, talk to your professional advisor, or you can email me, KristaDoesNumbers@gmail.com. Have a great night.